Hi, I am Pratim Ranjan Bose and you are watching Podcast with Pratim, presented by Iravati Research and Communication Center or IRCC. In this episode, we will discuss sports. I have with me fellow colleague from the media fraternity, Mr. Gautam Bhattacharyya. Mr. Bhattacharya is a former sports editor of the Dubai-based Gulf News. He served top newspapers like Times of India in the past and is currently a guest faculty on sports management to a top B school. Welcome, Mr. Bhattacharya. Viewers are aware that this channel dedicates itself to the dream of developed India in 2047. We tell the world about our achievements. We also show the mirror to Indian policymakers. We want them to pick the threads from our discussions and bridge the policy gaps. So far, at Podcast with Pratim, we discussed about economy, geopolitics, and politics, which have strong links to our national ambitions and aspirations. In today's episode, we will discuss about another common link, sports. There is not a single powerful economy that does not do well in sports. As world's fifth largest economy in terms of GDP, India has a mixed bag. I raised the issue in my YouTube audio channel, Perspective by Pratim Ranjan Bose. This episode will probe it deeper. Mr. Bhattacharya, let me start with cricket, where we have just won a T20 World Cup. Do you believe that India revolutionized this game and in the shortest possible time? We made long-term investments in the game, cutting across geographies. And to my understanding, we should dominate both on and off field for some time to come. Before I give the mic to you, just a perspective that historically there were good teams like West Indies or Pakistan, but they were individual driven. You had some Viv Richards and Clive Lloyds and Andy Roberts. In Pakistan, you had Imran Khans, Wasim Akrams. Once they are gone, then the cricket looked pretty pedestrian. Then there were very good system-backed teams like Australia. But the Indian story is distinct because we established strong systems in the domestic economy that will keep churning out good cricketers, front-ended that with transnational market link popularity, and bridge the gap with the finance chain. So that forms a complete ecosystem. Over to you, sir.
Mr. Bose, thank you for having me here. Yes, I mean, if we look deeper at a cricket, I mean, we see that we can't be possibly comparing with cricket with any other Olympic sport in the country per se. The way cricket has grown, if we take it, if we look at a 40-year span starting from that famous cup, there's victory, the evolution of IPL and where we stand today. Why have we become a case of neighbors envy, owners pride kind of a situation? You have to give it to the BCCI for the kind of thinking that they have done, the ecosystem that they have developed. You will often find that even during this World Cup, it had there had been some stray criticism from former captains. I'll not take names here, pretty obvious cases, where they kept saying that the fixtures have been tailored in favor of India. India had been playing all the day games. But trust me, even if India were playing some night games and, if, they were thrown at the deep end of the tunnel, the resilience that we showed and the kind of consistency that
if I understand it correctly, the timing of the game was fixed to suit the Indian audience, which is the biggest audience. So that was clearly a demand of the market, not the team.
Yes, but having said that, I mean, see, you have to. I mean, the criticism comes from the fact that this is the World Cup at the end of the day. I mean, it should be tailored to for the benefit of somebody. I mean, that is the ideal situation. But then again, the kind of domination India has shown and the consistency in the ICC tournaments. I mean, okay, you understand that they have just ended a drought of World Cup for over 13 years, or a major ICC title for 11 years. But if you go back in time, except the 21 T20 World Cup in Dubai, they have been either in the semi-finals or final of all the tournaments, including the World Test Championship. So I'm talking across formats. Why did this happen? This happened because of a certain, we are blessed with a certain lineage of players, number one. And number two, also, as this team is coming back, you must have noticed that another team with with some junior level thing and the thing, but look at the names. You will see these are the players who have been played in and out of the Indian camp and were unlucky not to have made the cut in the World Cup team. They have just flown to Zimbabwe. So that tells you about a pipeline. And I think that partly answers your question about the assembly line they have cleared.
Now, besides this astounding success in cricket, as you said, our performance in Olympic sports has been pretty poor. I should say extraordinarily poor. That is despite government initiatives to nurture talent beginning mid-1980s. That was the time when India also won the Cricket World Cup. Why this should be so? Economics, to my understanding, economics cannot appear to be the sole or main reason of this. If we look at, say, China, that participated in the Olympics for the first time in 1984 with a contingent of 216. They ended up winning, I think they were the fourth ranked team in terms of medal tally, and the medal conversion rate was 15%. India sent 48 sportsperson in that Olympics, but did not get a medal. In 2020 Tokyo Olympics, China sent 406. 22% of them got medals. India sent its largest contingent of 124 people. Only 6% were successful. So where is the gap?
Suppose when we are talking about Olympics here, I'm afraid we still have a long, long way to go. If you look at our history, if we take the modern Olympics, I mean, from 1900 in Paris to upcoming one in Paris, that is about 125 years, 35 medals, of which we have got, 10 gold, sounds good, but of which 8 came from hockey, from those glory days of hockey. 2 individual medals, I mean, don't have to name them, one from Abhinav Bindra, one from Neeraj Chopra, so you can and count them. 9 silver, 16 bronze. That tells you a story. And the harvest or the medal collection virtually started from 1996 in Atlanta when Leander won the bronze. Before that, we used to look up, and they used to be favorite, quiz questions about KD Jadhav and all on that wrestling medal. So, one thing definitely is there, as Olympics has grown in size, the depth of field has increased. I mean, we shouldn't be possibly comparing with the sample size of Olympics to cricket. I mean, which still remains a Commonwealth-driven sport. I mean, we have just tried to tap that huge US market, and that was one of the reasons of being a part of the World Cup there. And then, from Los Angeles, you are going to get cricket there in T20 format. With a little bit of luck, you can see India doing a podium finish there. But the depth of it in Olympics is huge, and to surround that, you need a system in place, definitely, as you said, and you need that kind of a quality among the athletes. We need to kind of handpick what disciplines we are going in for. Okay. By and large, we were blessed with those standards, with Major Dhyanchand, with Wesley Claudius, Gulberg, etc. That was a different era. Now we are talking about a time when there is also commercialization creeping into Olympics. This time, for the first time, the World Athletics Body is starting a scheme whereby, each of the gold medalists, and if I'm not wrong, the other medalists also are going to get prize money. They have prize money for the first time. never believed in prize money. Thought, wow, this is all about rolling and how to do it. So this is it. And to cope with this, you'll have to, apart from thinking, there has to be one has to be patient, one has to give it time. Nothing will happen overnight. There will be the odd Neeraj Chopra breaking through or the odd PV Sindhu breaking through, but we still have a catch up to do.
But how come China? I don't know whether you studied this. Is that the parallel I drew with China is for a reason. We have similar population size. Right at this moment, we have a younger population. China was of the same economic status as we were in 1984 or till that time. So it is not that they had better play of resources. I can't expect that they have a huge, let us remember that they had a great famine in the 1960s that killed crores of people. So it's not like that, they were all hunky-dory. So how could they pull out such a contingent of successful Olympians and we could not? I mean, is there something wrong with our focus, psyche, or whatever? We are a multiracial country. So it's not that, it's not like Bangladesh that all Bengalis are there. So, you have a problem with particular abilities. We will get some kind of ability in some people somewhere. Over to you, sir.
Yes. I mean, I think it should be very, very unfair to compare with China because when you talk about China, if you look at the Olympics of the pre-90s Olympics, how the pecking order of the medal tally moved, whether you're talking about China or if you go back to the erstwhile USSR or East Germany, I mean, these were, that's where the state played a major, major role. That was the time when, post independence, we believed in that Nehruvian theory about participation for participation's sake for a long, long time. I mean, hockey by default, as I said before, hockey by default gave us those medals because of those genius. Finally, where did we made a breakthrough through Leander Pages. I mean, who was once again a product of himself and his father's sacrifice and relentless pursuit to break free of the model. Now, in the new millennium, we see the semblance of a system trying to fall in place. I mean, there are a lot of things happening silently. While we talk about a Neeraj Chopra, there is a kind of silent, and not use the word revolution, but an attempt to develop a kind of pipeline across the country is like shooting. That's why today you've got some 20 odd shooters, trying to vie for a place in the Olympics. And the average age of these Olympians are something between 18, 20 to 22. There are also reasons for that. But, in India, just about 15 years back, there was a problem with gun licensing in India. I mean, unless you're 15, you couldn't have used a air rifle or a pistol. Those rules were liberalized from, say the post Abhinav Bindra era around 2008-9. So you've got more kids, and not necessarily children from privileged class, a bit of upper middle class. They are also taking to shooting, and that's the result which we are seeing in the World Cups, etc. In Olympics, it's a culmination of a lot of factors. Very often you will see that there have been cases of Sonia Rigid so far in Olympics, and hence medals don't come.
That's interesting. So you were saying that finally we started, you're very right. I remember in shooting when I was a kid, there was one particular name that from Bengal, that lady used to go to Olympics time and again and used to fail every time. But it was all individual, so she must have been child of some rich man. But you were saying that, sorry?
She came from the family of the Borolin family.
Right.
Soma Datta.
Right. So today you are saying that we are breaking that barrier, and definitely Neeraj Chopra comes from extremely humble background. So that shows that there is some kind of barrier that we have broken and some system has been put in place. Now, that being so, You spoke about shooting, so I would like to know more about where we are working and where we can expect results in next 10 odd years. Let us not wait for time infinitum. Uh, in recent years, we have seen badminton, weightlifting, and quite a lot of push in hockey, particularly the Odisha government brought in. What is happening in these sectors, these disciplines?
That's a very interesting question, and it's also it has got a multi-layered um, response to it about what is happening and what levels it is happening. Let's first take hockey because in Tokyo they managed to end a 41-year-old drought of some kind of a podium finish, where they finished with the bronze. Not only that, what goes under the radar was the women. I mean, who qualified only for the second time, they finished fourth. They had beaten a number of powerful powerhouses along the way. They could have also, on a good day, they could have also finished with the bronze. So what happened was, I mean, see, there was a time for a long time we had been talking about hockey losing its way for decades for a country which had once won 8 gold medals. There is not enough sponsorship, public interest, media interest is waning. That's where the involvement of Odisha government and Mr. Navin Patnaik in particular, and that had been a real game changer. First, there was this proposal of sponsoring the league for 5 years. Now, last year, straight away, it was the sponsorship has been renewed for a period of 10 years till 2033. And then after the new state government came in there, one of the first things they did was to extend it till 2036, another 3 years, because 2036 is going to be 100 years of the state of Odisha. So these things are being done in acknowledgement of the fact that that states growth in sport, they're trying to leverage on the soft power of sport. So this definitely helped hockey training centers, the kind of facilities that they have built. If you go there in Bhubaneswar, if you look at the Kolingo complex, I think it's a unique complex by itself. Not even Delhi has that kind of Delhi's facilities were low. So this is kind of happened, and that
And
confidence.
what I also liked is that is that these new hockey stars, they're quite a TikTok generation. They are such
Yes,
fun.
yes, yeah. No, that has actually changed. I mean, we will possibly somewhere during the course of this conversation to talk about our footballers. See, our footballers, there was a time when our star footballers of the 70s were
I
trying
actually
to.
have a single question lined on football. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. But what's happening is they are moving with the times. Their social media savvy. They believe in having a good lifestyle. And not only, I mean, look at the badminton players. Sindhu is one of the top earners in the Forbes list of richest sports persons. Nothing wrong with it, provided you can show the results. So coming back to hockey, uh, yes, you have to. India also deserves the credit where it's due. Participation in the FIH Pro League, hosting these top-notch tournaments in Odisha, and participating and coming back with good results. Until the other day, we were number 3 in the FIH rankings. Just slipped to number 7 right now at speed. So there has been a resurgence in the interest and growth of hockey. Not in every tournament. I mean, it shouldn't be this way. That should we fail to do a podium finish in Paris, we should think that it's been a case of one step forward, 2 steps back. No, I mean there is enough, any number of new players who are coming up, but you'll have to again give it time and look for the next available big tournament, World Cup, then again the next cycle of Olympics, so that overall you give the impression that okay, we are a powerful.
So you
That's how it
very
is.
well argued the case of hockey. What you said is that we are not taking any shortcuts over there. We are giving a good space to the players, to the system, coaches, or whatever, and we are giving it a complete lift. What about other sports? Badminton, I remember, this Prakash Parukon, so that was individual driven. But But now we seem to be entering into a different league. Badminton and wrestling and these things, boxing, particularly the Northeast, that is producing a lot of Olympians in those segments. Northeast,
Yes,
and wrestling is of course Haryana oriented.
right, right. I mean, see, this diversity that we have, and you have also, you have the answers hidden in your question.
I mean, just to add a question is that, are we going to consolidate on these games? Do we have the system in place? Then I can be hopeful of converting more medals 10 years down the line.
One thing I am afraid of, that whether we should be in a position to, to be able to consolidate on these gains for the last, say, 8, 9 years. I mean, say from 2016. 2016 was a terrible Rio Olympics where we had, the two girls serving as the blushes. I mean, final week, each day were going on, and it was because the weight was, getting agonizing for people like us. And then final week, it was left to a rookie PV Sindhu then, I mean, just been a newcomer, and Shakshi Malik spare us the blushes and returned with at least 2 medals. That was the time, that was the tipping point where the Indian government was, launched this top scheme, and they tried to go about in a systemic way. But then you saw what happened with wrestling. This protracted struggle over the past 1.5 years, was there in the public gaze, lack of preparations. Finally, 6 athletes have qualified. That includes one of the athletes who were a face of that agitation. So we would certainly like to pin hopes on them. But wrestling, this is again, those akra-based sport, and any number of wrestlers you take, you will see the name of Haryana, Punjab. These are the states which come to the fore. So wrestling possibly is a kind of sport where, there is a kind of tradition. So there, wrestling will never go out of fashion. But for the other sports, very right, my only worry is whether, I mean, it all depends on whether we are able to sustain the momentum in Paris. Because now from those 7 medals, which the way you calculated it, it's about a 6%, measly 6% conversion rate. If it goes up to 7 or 8, and if we manage to cross that, double figures which we are aspiring for, then again you see for the next cycle we can hope for something good. Otherwise, we at no cost we should come back to that square one kind of thing, because ultimately winning the medal, it all depends on the given day. You luck favors a bit, etc. Finally,
To
you
put
win the
it
medal.
simply, our winnability should increase. We have a huge way to cover.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's why we should keep silently at it. I mean, that's why I why I took name was primarily because of that. Our sport, at the same time, something like wrestling. Yes, I mean, I think it's going to continue our work of fashion. Weightlifting you spoke about, largely because weightlifting, because of Mirabai Chang. I mean, she gave us the first medal in Tokyo. But ultimately, there is only one weightlifter who has qualified, and that's Chang. Still, we have got some good chances. We have got some 6, 7 boxes going. And that again, some of these national federations, we know that sometimes we tend to tar them with the same brush that, not enough work is going on with officials. But some of these federations, believe me, are doing exemplary work. Boxing Federation for one, National Rifles Association of India is another, Badminton Federation of India is another. So, in limited pockets, this kind of work is going on, and so, but yes, conversion is very, very important. Otherwise, people's patience may run thin, and they may even go back. That's the point of check.
Right. No, I wouldn't mind to send a small contingent, but their winnability should be at par with others. Simple. I mean, if we are not good in some discipline, let's accept we are not good, but you have to achieve it. That is the kind of, if I were a policy maker, I would have gone by that kind of target-oriented goals, that either you achieve it or just step aside. So
that's again a very, just interrupting you. I mean, that's again, coming from the the background that you are. I understand your accountability factor, but in India, that underlying principle of participation, participation is important. That stays at the top of your mind. For example, there is a rower. I'm forgetting his name. There's a single rower. He's a service guy, 25 years old. In single sculls, he has qualified. Or in sailing last time, Netra Kumar and one girl had qualified. These are very lonely sport and these are very difficult sport. And it will be unfair to kind of, if one of them
No, these are exceptions. So these is a
come back with
rower
a medal,
or these are exceptions. So they are not increasing
right?
your contingent size by leaps and bounds. It's not like a football team, right?
Yeah. But bit by bit, that is why football team is out of the reckoning. I'm sure we'll take up football in due course. But bit by bit, that's how the contingent number increases.
Can you please explain this TOPS scheme? I think that will help viewers. And when was it used? You said 2016, right?
Yes, it happened in the wake of 2016. A task force was created, and that was done at the behest of the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, actually. And they drew up this plan whereby it's, accountability factor, which you were talking about. And a kind of consensus was taken that, there should be in this 4-year cycles. In case of Paris, it's 3-year cycle because of COVID. Kyoto took place a year later. There should be no dearth of, for the training, for any form of assistance that the elite athlete need, training, personal coach, physiotherapist, the entire entourage, the top scheme is taking care of. Now, the kind of I don't have a ballpark.
So this is about the selected lot of sports person.
Yes.
Is it only for athletics or for also for other disciplines?
Okay, all Olympic sport.
Okay.
All Olympic sport. If these athletes are selected, they're nominated under the top scheme, which is finalized by the Indian Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs and SAI. And there are also certain CSR funding which comes into the support and assistance of the athletes. So there, the kind of money that is being rolled in by the government is huge. I don't have a ballpark figure of the total budget, but I can throw in some examples. For example, Mirabai Chang. So the other day we were having a conversation with her. She was
a gold medalist, right?
She was a silver medalist. Now Chanu, for her training, for her injury management and preparation for Paris, during these 3 years, the budget for her was 2.7 crores.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, for an individual athlete. Moving on to PV Sindhu, an athlete of immense credentials. Should she get there for a third medal of any color, she will be. We don't have to qualify Sindhu as a double medalist, and a former world champion. For Sindhu, the outlay is 2.76 crores over these 3 years between Tokyo and Paris. Right now, as we speak, Sindhu is training. She had changed coaches because she had suffered injuries. There was a dip in form. So it was completely at her behest. She had changed coaches at least thrice. And then she has also taken up Prakash Parukon, shifted base to Bangalore from Hyderabad as a mentor, so that she can go back to the basics. So the outlay for her is 2.76 crores. For the boxers, which had given us about 6 qualifiers to the Olympics, and I think that's about it. Boxing in 3 years is not for the 6 athletes, but the total plan from where the 6 athletes could qualify is a total of 52.78 crores. This includes training, exposure trips, injury management, and this takes care of people like
2 crores for 6 boxers only, or for a whole contingent?
No, it's about a pool of around 25 to 27 boxers, from where 6 managed to qualify.
Just trying to understand data here. Say 25 boxers, right? On whom 52 crores have been spent, so roughly 2 crore each, right? And 6 are qualified to participate in the Olympics, or 6, is that the ratio?
6 have qualified to participate in the Olympics. Now,
so that's a very good ratio. Roughly 25% of them are going to represent the country.
Yes, and you won't be able to tell you whether it's a per capita kind of investment of 2 crores or not. I mean, if it's Lovlina Borgohain, why I'm saying this is if it's Lovlina Borgohain who had last time, if her requirement is more, then TOPS is not going to shy away from spending that money.
Okay.
Or if it's a Nikhat Zari, who's a double world champion, a Commonwealth Games gold medalist, trying for her, ready for her first go at the Olympics. If her requirement is more, then the government is not going to shy away from it. But this is the total figure, which is an official figure provided by SPAC.
Right.
At the end of the day, 6 boxers are.
Right.
So this in a nutshell is the TOPS.
So this is about those who are the top-notch sports person, right? Who
yes, no,
selecting
top-notch. Right. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Top-notch or no, there is a budget for all of them. I mean, every now and
then. When I say top-notch, I mean the topmost layer of sports persons.
Olympic bound.
Right. Right. So you are going to, give them some liberty that you go ahead. If you have the quality, we are going to open the pass. Period. That's kind of.
That is why they have come that far. For example, the rower. Once again, that's a very expensive sport. I think is Punja. The surname is Punja. He is a 25-year-old service guy. So for the rower, decent money has been spent. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been go to Europe is their standard go-to place for their training. Here, there are very few places where those straight bodies of lakes. I mean, Bhopal has one. There's another army base, I think, in Pune, which has got another center. So for all this, again, good amount of money is being spent.
Right.
So that the continuity of this, come back to your question, for that, keep up the momentum is very, very important. Should there be, should the results don't match the expectations in Paris, if there is a cutting down of the budget, because ultimately it's going to be a very, minuscule thing if you look at the bigger picture of the kind of budget that the government draws. This process should continue because it's not only Olympics. I mean, if Neeraj Chopra is the reigning world champion in China, right? Now, God forbid if he cannot produce another medal here, in another year's time you've got another world championship. So if he can retain his world title, then he goes up to the level of a Jan Yelesny, who's the ultimate, who's a God figure kind of a person in javelin. So the continuity is very important.
Now, sir, the last question about football, which we all are very passionate of as Bengalis. This is the game we all played. We all played throughout the season, except in the winters when we used to play cricket. And what happened really? A lot of discussions, a lot of efforts. The IPL, the ISL came parallel to IPL, right? In the 90s, footballers, there were at least 100 footballers in Calcutta Maidan who could earn 1 lakh a month, which was a very big figure then. Okay. So things were not as bad, but only the performance has been bad. And we are now ranked at 124 versus with 116 of Vietnam, 100 of Thailand, and China is 88. I'm not expecting India to be a world-beating football side. But I'm only expecting you have to be competitive. You cannot go below Vietnam, or you cannot win. Nowadays, I think Afghanistan is creating kind of a track record of beating Indian football team. So why we can't even do that? Over to you.
So once again, it's a very loaded question, which I think will possibly need another session by itself. To to get down to the bus tax, yes, I mean, once again, the recent developments certainly does not figure very well about the future of football. You know what, we last year, if we were, there was a bit of a high, we got people, the football fans, talking about it. It was a very welcome sign for somebody like us whose bread and butter is sports journalism. But on what basis were we doing it? There were, India had won 3 tournaments. All 3 were played in India, and they were in nature, invitational tournaments. The SARC tournament had some history, but we are playing to the Bangladesh, the Afghanistan, the Pakistans, and got with as a kind of invitee team.
Let me put it once again as a financial journal. Let me put it in very black and white. We play against the backbenchers, absolute backbenchers in SARC tournament.
Yes, yes, yeah. See, they had been our peers for a long time now. Now, where we did well in the bargain was, we managed to qualify for 2 Asian Cup finals on the trot. I mean, in 2019, we did reasonably well in the UAE, and being based out of UAE at that time, and go to watch a few of their games. They did reasonably well because the group was relatively easier. I mean, against Thailand, when they notched the 4-1 win, we were thinking that, okay, is it a turnaround time again? But it didn't happen. We couldn't go progress beyond first round. In Qatar, this January when we were playing, then we opened against Australia. Then we had, we were fresh out of the World Cup in Qatar. Then we had Syria, and we had possibly Afghanistan so Uzbekistan. Sorry. So it was a very tough group. And I was not surprised that we finished without a point or even scoring a goal. The performance, the kind of football they played overall was not bad. People's patience, literally are running out. Once again, with ego stimulation going, AIFF looking for another coach, and whoever comes, tomorrow, if you get a Jurgen Klopp player, he won't be able to produce that results unless again that process put into place, which you spoke about cricket. That process in place, the AIFF new regime, when they came to power, they also have a vision 2047 actually, and one of their goals, apart from there are certain things about women's football, etc. But one of their goals of the president or the blueprint that they've drawn up is to get a certain million, about some, 10 million kids, can't tell you often, children to take to play football. That is the kind of goal that they've set for themselves. The more you have people taking to the sport, which has happened in cricket, once again, comparisons are odious because football is such a tough
Everything is
game.
comparative. There is no absolute thing in life. Everything is relative.
No, yes, but when we talk about, it's another discussion. But what I'm saying is, here we are talking about nearly 200 countries in the game. So that's why it's so very important for Indian football to take it step by step. I mean, as I have spoken to Sunil Chetri about, Baichung Bhutti about, or Stimach. So they keep saying that, you see, at this point, we'll have to forget the World Cup aspirations. Let us try and qualify for the Asian Cup finals at least twice or thrice at one go, so that we get to play good opposition. Now, when we get to play good opposition, we get a hammering. So we really have to have a long-term strategy looking at around, at least a 12-year cycle to be somewhere. Otherwise, it's unfair on these players now. Sunil Chetri will be mighty relieved that, okay, I've come out with my head held high. But it also didn't, reflect on the overall standard of your football or the quality of your disposal. See that a 39-year-old guy, however exceptional he may be, is your captain and is your only go-to guy for scoring goals, even for scoring from penalties.
So
And
where we come down to, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you down, is that all talks, no delivery, either from the administrators or from the players. I mean, we are exactly where we were back in 1982 when we had a very great coach and that Nehru Cup, and we did put up some fight. I think that is exactly where we are today. There has not been much progress.
yes, unfortunately, yes, and we shouldn't be. I think the way forward is, I mean, we shouldn't be ruminating about what we were in the past because this Nehru Cup football once again it was a legacy of governments. We gloated a lot. We did well, reasonably well with the batch that we had. Individually, we had some lovely talented footballers, but here, right now, we have to follow more realistic models. Like we can, our aim should be to follow a Thailand model or a Vietnam model and take it from there. And the other thing is, I hope serious work is being done with the football school, the AIFF football school, which has come up in Bhubaneswar. They have appointed Mr. Arsene Wenger
Interestingly,
and
I'm just pointing it out here that Tata Steel made a focused investment in football for quite a long time, and even they failed to deliver those kind of quality footballers.
no, see, the word failure, Mr. Bose, is a very relative term here. I mean, in the parameter of Indian football, they have produced any number of stars or footballers for a kind of supply line to the Calcutta football. That time, Calcutta League was the all important one. But gradually, they realized that trying to field a team of our own doesn't work. They still have some kind of an operation going, but I think it has been whittled down. It is more of a CSR. Some children are still coming out of the course, but the sheen is definitely gone. Now we'll have to look forward to the AIFF one, where I think there is a bit of reliance investment also. And we have to hope for the best. But right now, things don't do too many really great things.
Okay. So thank you very much for giving time. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Thank you so much.
Yes, my pleasure. It was a different discussion. My pleasure. Thank you.